recording 7:13 a.m. The siren started its third cycle while I was under the headframe. It rose, held, and broke off into short bursts, 4 of them. I thought it was a fault until I heard something answer from the sealed number 2 shaft. Not an echo. A crowd of voices, far below the concrete cap, all knocking back in the same pattern. 4 knocks. Then one more, slow, like someone had counted me 2. Recovered audio file 1. 6:42 p.m. Wind noise. Vehicle door shuts. Testing. My name is Daniel Voss, contract surveyor with Redline Geotech, job code 14B, Banner Ridge Municipal Liability Assessment. If this recorder gets turned in without me, that means either I slipped somewhere stupid or the county finally has a reason to fence this place off. I'm here to map surface instability around the old town of St. Mercy, copper and zinc camp. Company built, mostly abandoned since the collapse in 1987. The county wants updated sink risk because a developer has ideas about turning the main street into a heritage stop with food trucks and plaques. I came up Route 16 from Haviland. Last gas was a Sinclair 38 miles back. The road into town still has the old yellow sign, Siren test, first Monday. Today is Thursday. There are 23 structures still standing enough to tag. A say office, boarding house, machine shed, church without a bell, school without windows. The head frame over number 1 is still up, black timber against the ridge. Number 2 is capped in poured concrete, county seal stamped into it in 1991. At 6:31, before I even killed the engine, the siren went off on the hill above town. Recovered audio file 2. 7:18 p.m. Footsteps on gravel. I'm on Mercer Street if the street signs are still right. The siren pole is above the volunteer fire shed. Big federal signal unit. Old mechanical style, not a modern speaker array. Somebody's maintained it. The housing's been repainted this decade. Fresh conduit, new padlock on the service box. County swears they don't touch it. The weird part is the pattern. Not a steady warning. It winds up full, holds maybe 7 seconds, then cuts into a number of short blasts. 5 on the first cycle, 3 on the second. Then it stopped. I checked the notice board by the shed. Most of the flyers are mush, but one laminated card is still pinned straight. Blackout procedure. If the siren sounds after dark, proceed indoors and remain visible from the street. Keep lamps lit. Do not answer knocks from rear entrances. That isn't mine safety language. That reads domestic. Small town practical. It bothered me more than the siren did. There's a diner window with plates still set on the back counter. Sun-bleached coffee cups. A child's booster seat with the vinyl split open. Dust on everything except one clean stripe across the floor, as if a door has been opening there recently. I just found the power station. The meters are spinning. Recovered audio file 3. 8:02 p.m. A door creaks open. A say office. I came in for a flat surface and got lucky. Filing cabinets, dry enough to keep paper. There's a ledger here from the Mine Rescue Committee. Not payroll, not ore totals. Siren log. Handwritten dates, decades of them. Most entries are one line. Test okay. Bearings greased. Belts replaced. Then, after the collapse, the wording changes. June 14. Sounded 19. June 15. Sounded 18. June 16. Sounded 18 again. Della hurriedly at her pantry door. June 17. Sounded 17. Sheriff says stop counting. It goes on for months. I'm looking at names I passed outside in the cemetery. Whole families. The mine buckled during second shift, trapped 19 men below number 2. Officially, they recovered 6 bodies. The rest stayed in the flooded lower galleries. The town emptied over the next year. The last page has an entry from 2004 in different pen. County maintenance inspection denied. Siren left active per standing request of remaining residents. Remaining residents, plural. I have seen exactly nobody since I got here. Hold on. There's a photograph taped inside the ledger cover. Volunteer picnic, probably 70s. The Siren Hill in the back. Someone circled 4 faces in red ink. 3 men. 1 little girl standing in front of them. All 4 faces have been scratched out down to white paper. Recovered audio file 4. 9:11 p.m. Recorder clipped to jacket. Wind stronger. I walked up to the Siren Hill. Locked cabinet, fresh chain. The line is live. You can hear the motor hum faint through the housing even when it's idle. There are houses up here that don't show on the county parcel map. 4 of them in a row, all company bungalows with porches facing the street. 3 are rotted through. 1 has a lamp on, not electric. Kerosene by the smell. I went to the gate and called out. Somebody moved the curtain. I saw fingers pinch the fabric and let go. Then an old woman said, very clearly, through the door, "You're late." I told her I was county survey. She said, "Then stand where they can see you." I asked who. The siren started before she answered. Full wind up over my head, loud enough to hit my ribs. Then short blasts. 4 this time. The woman opened the door just enough to show 1 eye and half a cheek. She was wearing her coat indoors. Behind her, every lamp in the house was lit. "They come uphill first," she said, "because uphill is work. Home is downhill. They always come the way they remember." I asked her if she meant the missing miners. She shut the door in my face. A minute later, something knocked on the back side of the house. Not the front where I was standing. The back. 3 soft taps. Then my own voice said, "Ma'am, county survey." Recovered audio file 5. 10:03 p.m. Rapid breathing. Footsteps on wooden floorboards. I'm inside the woman's house now. She let me in when I backed away from the porch. Her name is Ruth Caro. 81, if she's telling the truth. Says she was 10 when number 2 went under. Her father and 2 brothers were among the 19. The house is clean in the way old people keep places clean when they expect inspection. Folded blankets. Plastic over the sofa, canned peaches dated last summer. 12 place settings on the table. There are nails hammered around every rear window frame, not into the sash, into the trim, close together, each one bent slightly outward like teeth. Ruth saw me looking and said, "They don't like squeezing through." I asked why the siren counts down. She said, "Because every year one of them gets home enough to stop needing called." I thought she was senile. I still mostly do, but the back of this house says otherwise. The kitchen door has been planed down at the bottom from being opened over grit, yet the threshold is caked with black mud on the outside only. Fresh mud, thick as axle grease. It smells metallic, like old pennies and wet stone. There's another sound out there now. Shoes crossing the porch. Not boots, not a man's stride. Small, hard soles. A child pacing from one end of the porch to the other. Ruth just whispered, "That one isn't ours." Recovered audio file 6. 11:27 p.m. Outdoor ambience. Gravel sliding underfoot. Ruth would not come with me. She gave me a carbide lamp from a shelf by the stove and told me if the siren reached one, I needed to be under open sky. She would not explain that either. I'm at the concrete cap over number 2, 20 feet across, domed, bolted into bedrock. County seal in the middle. Somebody has ringed it with white lime, fresh enough to brighten my boots. The first thing I noticed was water. Not pooling, beating up through the hairline cracks in the concrete and rolling downhill in thin threads, black in the lamplight. The second thing was sound. There is knocking from underneath. Irregular at first, then coordinated. Groups of short raps traveling in a circle under the slab, as if several people below are moving around the shaft wall and taking turns where the sound carries best. I put my ear near the concrete and heard words in the gaps. Not clear sentences. Fragments. Names, home, open, cold, mine. Then a new voice, close enough that I jerked back from the cap. It came from directly behind me and spoke into the recorder before I turned. "You counted wrong. Nobody there. Just sagebrush and the black frame of number 1 against the stars." The siren began again. One long rise, then 2 short blasts. From inside the sealed shaft, something hit the underside of the cap hard enough to lift dust from the bolts. Recovered audio file 7. 2:13 a.m. distortion. Siren audible in background. I went back to the assay office for the rescue maps. I found the answer in a cross-section pinned under warped glass. There weren't 19 men below when number 2 collapsed. There were 20. One wasn't on the shift ledger because she wasn't supposed to be there. The circled little girl from the photograph, Mary Caro, age 7. According to a note clipped behind the map, she followed her father into the cage house during the rain and hid in the tool car. Collapse sealed the lower galleries before anyone knew she was missing. The company erased it to avoid claims. Ruth wasn't a witness. She was the sister. That is why the pattern never made sense. 19 trapped, 6 recovered, leaves 13. But Ruth said the siren reached 1. If it started at 20, then 1 remained now. The whole building just shook. I can hear the siren from here. 1 long, then 1 short. Something is walking up Mercer Street. Slow, wet footfalls, but too heavy for 1 person, like several steps trying to land in the same print. It passed the diner. I know because the booster seat in the window moved. I saw it turn by itself, a quarter turn toward the glass. It's stopping at the lit houses first. Ruth was wrong about one thing. The child isn't outside with them. She's the one still in the mine. Recovered audio file 8. 2:31 a.m. Severe clipping. Running. I left the office when I heard Ruth scream. Not long. One sound cut off. I'm on the hill. The porch lamp is out. Front door open. The house smells like flooded stone. Her table is still set. One plate on the floor, cracked clean through. There is black mud across the ceiling, handprints, or maybe prints from something that had hands once and used them to pull itself along overhead. Ruth is gone. The back door is standing open against the nails. Half the bent ones are torn out of the trim. The siren is at full wind now. It doesn't cut. It just holds, motor screaming, bearings grinding. I can see the housing shuddering on the pole. There's somebody on the road below me. Small, standing in the middle of Mercer Street in a pale dress gone gray with water. Hair pasted flat to the face. Too far to make out features, but the head is tipped up toward the hill. She's not alone anymore. The street behind her is filling in. Men in work coats, helmets, lamps dead, faces black and slick like they'd been pressed from coal slurry. They aren't climbing, they're waiting. The little girl just raised one arm and pointed at me. 5 seconds of overload and mechanical howl. They're counting back up.